Okay, we are live. All right, let's see. Hey, Patty. Hi, Deb. Yeah, I didn't send out a reminder since I just posted this last night that I was going to do it. I probably really shouldn't be doing this right now because my mind is like everywhere else. But I'm going to try my best to get through this demo today. Hi, Pat. Okay. All right. So I see people are coming on. And today, I'm going to just show you, it's a simple project today. I'm just going to show you how I do um, my dangle earrings. And if you don't know how to make a wire wrapped loop, um, I'm hoping that you will learn today. It's a very helpful little technique it allows you to do all kinds of fun things in jewelry making to attach things, and it's a good solid attachment. Okay. Yeah, Patty, you're right. I wanted to do this because my mind is just like very weary from the dad issue. And, you know, uh, I've been conflicted on what I'm going to do with him. And I thought it'd just be nice to take my mind off of this for a little while. So let me move the camera down and I will show you what I have prepared. Okay, here. All right, let's see if we get in the frame. Okay, so I've been showing these the last couple weeks, different things that I've been working on when I've been at the hospital with my dad. And these are great projects that you can take with you. If you're going somewhere, if you're traveling and you have a little time to kill, or um, maybe you want to sit in the evening and watch TV and work on a little bit of something that doesn't require um, many items, so this is a bare minimum of supplies that you need. And let me just go over that with you. Um, the round nose pliers, the chain nose pliers. Sometimes you need the flat nose when you're closing jump rings, but that's kind of an optional thing. And then a good pair of wire cutters. Um, and some little supplies, which in this case I have used um, mainly like 24 gauge wire, and I like to use a lot of head pins when I'm making my little wire wrap loops, and you can get them already ready to go. Little head pins like this. These are 2-inch uh, lengths that I use quite a bit, and I also use the 1-inch uh, which is kind of small, but actually, if you're only wrapping a very small crystal or stone, uh, this has a lot less waste to use the little 1-inch. But it is a little more tedious to make that little loop. But if you do it a lot, you'll get used to it, and it'll become a nice little skill for you. The other thing is I use a lot of chain, little bits of chain that that I save when I'm making other projects. I just have this little box of various sizes of chain that you can just keep little lengths of, and they come in really handy for little projects like this. I just keep all my little bits of chain. Uh, I just put them on a jump ring just to keep these particular ones together, these smaller links, which are just really great for the earring dangles, all little different lengths. I did a lot of bead stringing and stuff, and made anklet bracelets, little anklets like that. And so I have lots of little sizes of leftover chain. Like I said, it's perfect for this type of application. Um, hey, Jennifer, lucky you in Arizona. It's cold over here. So what I basically have is, let's see if I can get a little closer. Um, what I've done here is just on this pair, I just put one single piece of chain on here, and then I wrap all my little crystals on those links of the chain. So that's just one. And then on this one, this is 3 different sections of chain that I spaced with a couple of seed beads, the galvanized 8O seed beads in silver. And I use these specifically because they're more of a, they're round, but they're not completely round. So these fit into the jump rings a lot easier than, say, a 2 or a 3 millimeter silver ball. So so these are kind of nice to use if you want to separate your chain, which I kind of like this look, so they don't all just hang, really close together. You can see the definition that there are actually 3 different chains on here. So this was one completed pair that I did, and this has got a little bit longer or larger chain link in here, which I like. And then this pair on the end is a smaller chain, and I need to make the mate for this one. And yeah, this is a smaller link chain on this one. And then the one with the turquoise, which I'm really liking this one a lot. This is just a smaller link chain as well, with little turquoise chips and little silver balls. These are 4 millimeter little silver balls here, and then I put some 2 millimeters on either side of the stones. So I think they're quite fun. You can do a lot of fun stuff with this technique. So let's see here. So I've got, let me move these out of the way here. And I want to make a mate for this particular crystal. Get this in the way, out of the way here, I mean. Okay. So, and I think these jump rings that I connected everything to, I think this is an 8 millimeter jump ring right here that I've connected these to, and then a couple of 3 millimeters to connect those to. A 6 millimeter silver ball, and then these are 3 millimeter silver balls. So let me see if in my directions, because I'm going to be putting this out for you. Um, I had written, oh yeah, here it is. But it's kind of small. But and I don't even know if you can see it on the on your screen. Let's see if I can hold this up and you can see it. And what I did was lay my chain out and check my links, so that what I'm doing is adding a crystal on the same link, but on either side, on both sides of the chain, so that when they lay, you get them, I guess, in the right orientation, that they hang better when they're spaced across from each other like this. I don't know how to describe that. I'm just going to start doing it, and then hopefully you can follow along. But I've got pretty good detailed instructions that will be available after I'm done with this broadcast. So hopefully hopefully you'll be able to do that. The important thing is that you know how to make that wire wrapped loop, and we'll go over that. Deb, I see that you're asking about the cutters. Yeah, these are Tronics, and this one is it's the item number is 5222, 5222, and it is a razor flush cutter, and they're really, really nice. They have these really fine tips, and you can really get in small spaces with these cutters. So they're expensive. There's no question about it, but to me, they are like the most valuable little pair of cutters that I have. Now, saying that, you can't cut real heavy gauges of wire. I think the heaviest that I would cut with these cutters is 16 gauge. I think 14 gauge and below would be too thick, and you might damage your cutters. So I would stay with 16 and above with no problem whatsoever. So I use this a lot when I'm cutting jump rings, as long as they're not a thick gauge. Okay, and they also have a little handy dandy cap that you can close them up with and keep your cutters free from getting banged up. So you can look for that. They've got a 5222 and a 5223. I've got each, but I think the 5222 might be the one, the better of the choices. Okay. All right. So I've got my little bits of chain here. I can make lots of dangly earrings with these. Put those things to the side, and what I'll do is I'll start off with the chain. I'm going to need 3 different lengths of the chain to match this. And you don't have to do it exactly like I'm doing it. Sometimes I get a little bit anal when I'm doing these things, and I want them to be just so, but I like to have the staggered lengths. So this is a shorter, mid, and then long. And then I just kind of gauge by how many links I'm using. And I'm going to, on some of these beads, the holes are too large for the head pin. So you have to stop them up with something. And a 2mm bead, you could do a 2mm bead easily, or you could do like a small daisy spacer, something that the head of the head pin is not going to go through. So I'm going to put a little 2mm ball on here, and then my 6mm silver ball, and then another 2mm. They're so tiny. I'll probably be dropping things left and right. All right, so to make my wire wrapped loop, I'm going to put the round nose pliers right directly on top of that 2mm bead, and I'm going to push or to bend that wire over, and I've got my pliers in what I call my horizontal position right here. And now I'm going to release the grip on those pliers and just roll them up. So now they're in what I would call my vertical position of the pliers. And then I'm going to push this wire up and over the top tine of that plier and right down in front. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Now I'm going to release the grip of my pliers again and just rotate my pliers back to the horizontal position and continue to push that wire under. What that's doing is simply creating a loop. And maybe that might be a more complicated way than some people do it, but this is how I figured out to do it many, many years ago, and it is just like second nature to me. So it's like once you get this down pat, it becomes very simple to do. Then I'm going to grab that loop with my round nose pliers. I'm going to hold that loop, change hands, put this in my non-dominant hand, and then grab my chain nose pliers, and then starting at the very base of that loop, I'm going to start to wrap that wire around the very base of that loop and come around and wrap about, it's generally about 3 times that you can wrap around there. You want to meet up to the bead, the adjacent bead, and then I'm going to snip that excess wire off. And sometimes, well, most times, there's a little bit of your head pin sticking up, and you want to flatten that down very carefully with your chain nose pliers so you don't smash that little 2 millimeter bead. And just kind of press that around. And that gives you a perfect wire wrapped little bead. So you get nice tight wraps, very uniform, and they're going to hold that item very well. Okay. But there's always a but. I just closed this thing without putting it in the chain. So that's first boo-boo number 1 here. So let's do that again. And I'll insert it in the chain this time, I promise. All right, so I have to get myself another 6 millimeter bead. It's not a show or a demo or whatever without me screwing something up. All right, so I'm going to get my new head pin out here. Put the 6 millimeter in there. And then another 2 millimeter. Itty bitty. Okay, let's do this right this time. So I'm going to make my bend and rotate my plier, come up and over, rotate my plier again, and make my loop. Once you've got that loop, then you take your piece of chain and insert it through the head pin into the loop. Now you grab your round nose pliers and grab that loop and take the chain nose pliers. I hope you guys can see this okay. And form or wrap around the very base of that loop. About 3 times, sometimes it's only 2. And then I'm going to get my little cutters, cut that excess off, and push down that little part that's sticking up without smashing the little 2 millimeter bead. That's the trick. Because the little 2 millimeters especially are fragile in the sense that because they're so small, they're easy to clamp your pliers on, clip it, I should say. Okay, so now this is the way it's supposed to be. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Marianne. Hey, happy birthday, Marianne. Today's Marianne's birthday. I didn't get my birthday greeting out there to you yet, Toots, but I will. I will do that. I'm not going to forget. Okay, so I have the first line, or the first chain, which is a little bit longer, but it's easier to grab onto these little bits of chain. Actually, if you wanted to make it easier to hold on to the chain, you could just put a little jump ring on there. It's not necessary, but it gives you a little something extra to hold on to while you're putting uh, your crystals on there. Just gives you a little extra. All right, so now what I want to do is calculate what I have done already so that my earrings will match. And what I did was I went up, can't see that, on the third link up. On the third link up, I put a crystal on there. So I'm going to be using some Swarovski crystals that I have. I have a little stash that I had from many years back. A lot of these they don't, well, Swarovski's not making these little crystals anymore. But there are Preciosa, I think is the name of one of the companies that make these little crystals now. And I'm sure they're just fine. The only problem that I would have is if I'm trying to match colors that I already have. So I haven't gotten to that point yet because I still have quite a few from years back. And but you can use whatever stones or crystals you like. It's really just a matter of choice, or maybe just what you have available. So now for these little 4mm crystals, I'm just going to use the little 1-inch head pins and grab my round nose pliers and do the same thing. Just wrap it. And it goes by pretty quick once you have got the hang of it. All right, so now I said I was going to put it in the third link from the top here. So that would be here. I push that right through the chain and then grab onto the loop. Now I have less to work with here, but that's okay once you get used to it, because there's less waste, and you can get 1-inch head pins for a lot less money than you pay for 2-inch head pins. So that's a good thing too. So you have a little bit, and this is why I say these little pliers are great, because they get in these little tight spots that would be difficult with a thicker cutter. And there again, I'm going to push that little piece of wire down. Now, to some of you, you may think that this is very tedious, and I suppose in the beginning it is, but honestly, I find this to be pretty relaxing. Once you know what you're doing, it really is relaxing. Now, on this style, I have to look at what I did, because I've made several different styles, and I want to make it the same. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to skip one link and then go up to the next. And oh, these are 3mm. I've got 4mm sitting out here. Let me grab 3mm balls. All right. Grab a few of those. All right, and there again, another 1-inch head pin. All right, and my round nose pliers. If you wanted to make consistent size loops, for all your wraps. You can mark on your plier where the area that you like the size of that hole, or you can mark that with a Sharpie marker, so that way you can always line up your head pin in the right, yeah, you'd line up your head pin in the right place. All right, so I skipped, for this one, I skipped one loop, one link, I should say, and then put this on the opposite side. So I have a crystal on one side and the ball on the other side, if you can see that. And I don't know if I'm going to go through all of this with you. That might be uh, incredibly boring for you to watch. It's just I'm just trying to give you the idea of what you can, how you can put these on here, how you can place them so that they look more, I don't know, intentional in their in how they flow than if they were just put on just any old way. But maybe any old way is a good way as well. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for. So that's item number 2 on on the earring. Now, for the next one up, I'll put the crystal on the side where the ball is, and just keep alternating crystal ball, crystal ball. Oh, crystal ball, all the way up, and that way they'll hang nicely. All right, so let's grab, what did I do on this one? Well, see, now I wasn't real consistent in these. Now that I'm looking at it, I didn't necessarily do it that way. I put, well, if I wanted to match this particular one, if you can see here, I put the blue zircon crystal on and then 3 of the little balls, and then the green crystal, which should be flopping on that side. So we'll do it that way so they match. That's a 4mm ball. I've got too many things here on my tray. It's easy to pick up the wrong thing. All right, so where I put the other, I skipped a link and then went on the other opposite side of the silver ball that I put in. I'm working with tiny things here. Okay, so I put that through the chain link before I wrap the loop. People are coming and going in this house today. Okay, now wrapping the wire around the base of the loop and coming all the way around. Some people do their little wire wraps with their fingers, and that's great if you can do that, if you have that dexterity to do that. But also, if you're using long pieces of wire, that works pretty well. But when you're using these small pieces of head pins, you really have to use your tools for this. So a narrow, they make tools in all kinds of shapes. I mean, the same kind of tool, like a chain nose. They're different manufacturers. They put out different widths or sizes. These are Wubbers brand, and you can use any maker's pliers, but Some of them have finer tips than others. And for these small jobs, the finer tips are pretty nice. I'm not saying you have to have them, but I just find them to be nicer when I'm doing these uh, small small jobs, little tight areas. All right, so I guess what I should have done ahead of time was make a few of these links already with all the stuff on it so I could just move from, showing you this to the next step without having to do all the steps in the meantime. But I wasn't thinking that far ahead, as usual. So put this on the opposite side. And even if you didn't get them exactly placed, it's really not going to matter a whole lot. They're going to hang and they're going to still look great. And honestly, if somebody gets that close to your earrings to check out what kind of balance you have on them, I tell them to back off because they're too close. Oh, oh, I think I might have ruined that piece of chain. I had that caught in my cutter and I was squeezing, so I have to check that out to see if I ruined it. All right, so now it's time for a color. All right, so I'll go with the green. Anybody have any questions on any of this? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. It's just a matter of getting all your supplies, deciding what you want to do, um, that kind of thing. I really am liking the ones. I like the ones with the crystals, but I really like the ones with the turquoise chips on there too. I think those are a lot of fun. And then I've got these disc earrings, or not disc beads that I bought when I was in Tucson, and I really like that style a lot. So let's see here. Marianne, if you're still there, do you have any birthday plans today? I'm hoping that you do have something fun to do. I know when I'm done here, I have to go to the nursing home and see my dad, or the rehab center, not nursing home, and see my dad and try to convince him that it's time to go to a nursing home. And I'm really struggling with that. It is a really hard thing to do. I've never had to do anything like that, and I'm having a hard time with it. So we are taking one day at a time right now. Okay. It's snowing there? Oh, great. Well, it's that time of year. We're not out of the woods yet. We had a little bit of snow yesterday, and but not much. It's already gone today, so that's fine by me. Yeah, I really didn't want to talk too much about my dad today on the broadcast, but I'll fill you guys later. Yeah, fill you in later on the group page, and he's actually okay. All right, which is good. All right, so we've got these coming along, and I guess when I planned this, well, maybe I didn't plan it, and it just came out the way it came out. Um, but we're moving along here, and what color? Oh, I just need another little ball on here, and then I'll be done with this little segment. Okay. Oh my. 6 to 8 inches there, and up north 12 to 24. Holy cow. Yeah, that's a lot of snow to deal with. No thanks. I don't know what's with this weather, but we used to have some really awful heavy snows every winter, and we have really not had that much in the last several years. So, I mean, I'm thankful, but I remember, especially when we were growing up as kids, we had tons, tons of snowfall every year that would put everything to a halt. And we haven't had anything like that in a long, long time, for which I am grateful. All right. So if you have any trouble with this wire wrapped loop, I do have on the YouTube site, on my YouTube channel, I do have a video that I go over just that slowly, and you can watch all the steps and you can stop it and replay it as many times as you need to help you perfect that, because like I said, it's a great little thing to have in your bead repertoire of things that you can add. All right, so I've got this on the chain, but it's really not the right length, so I have to cut off some links on here to make it the right length to match. And a lot of times the easiest way is to stick a head pin. Well, I could take this right off of the chain and then, oops, I could take it off the chain and then measure it. But seriously, I mean, when you think about it, if you're going to set out to make a pair of matching earrings, you should do those calculations right at the beginning and determine your length at that point. You just cut your chain to length. And that way there won't be any futzing around like I'm doing right now. All right. Hopefully I didn't cut it off too short. All right. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chain right now. Hang that on there. That's amazing. Okay, so I put that on the jump ring that I'm going to use, and I'm going to take a couple of these seed beads. Uh, no, Marianne, I basically buy my stuff through the beadsmith. I have an account with them that I've had for years when I had the store, and I just keep buying stuff from them. It's a wholesale account, so it's not like the average person that doesn't have a wholesale account can't really buy through them. But I can sell stuff. I can buy it and then sell it, um, which is, it's nice and it's not nice because they don't always carry the same things, like time after time. There are some things that they have consistently, but I have found through the years that they, they discontinue certain things, and then it's hard to get those things. Chain in particular is a hard thing to get for me from them. And but Halstead Bead sells a lot of really nice chain, so you can always look there. This I only put one here. Getting ahead of myself here. So these seed beads fit on here a lot better, a lot easier than trying to put the rounded, more well, they're totally round where the seed beads are flat on the edges and they go in so much nicer. So that's the middle uh, little portion of this earring. So yeah, Halstead is great. They have a lot of really nice things. I get all of my well, I shouldn't say all of my CZs through them. I get a pretty good amount from them, and also the little tube settings. They have probably the most precision cut of the tube settings. All right. All right. Okay, Pat, you catch it on the replay. I know this one is probably this demo is probably too boring. But basically, my goal was to show you what you could make with these little wire wrapped beads and crystals and things, and they're really cool. I enjoy doing it. All right. Okay, so I've got the center one done, and now I've got the two sides, which I did cut. And I'm not going to put a silver ball on the bottom of that. I'm just going to hang a crystal. Or, no, I am going to put a ball on there, but just a small one. I'm going to take a 4mm ball and put that. And the 4mm ball, the holes on them are fine. They're not so large that the head pin fits through there, so, or comes through there. So I'm going to put that on the bottom. I'm going to remember to connect it to the chain this time. Excuse. Put that on the bottom link. Push it through to the loop, and then grab that. I hope. Are you guys able to see this okay? The way I'm doing it? To actually see it and get the benefit of it, get the gist of it. Cut that little piece off and smush down that wire. So then you've got that. And there again, I had a third piece cut, but I don't know. Oh, here it is. I think it got lost in the shuffle of all this crap I have all over. Let's see. I guess I cut those both the same length. All right. Well, Deb, let me tell you something. The more you do this, the better you get at it. I mean, it's it's not rocket science. It's just repetition. And I have probably done hundreds of thousands of these, and I'm not kidding. Uh, from all the years that I've been doing this stuff, and I've made so many like what I call cha-cha bracelets that have all kinds of stuff all over, and they really um, have a lot of movement, and they have a lot of stuff on them, and I love them. So, but each one is individually wrapped on. All right, so on the side ones here, if I want to match this, I started with a 3mm ball. I'll do a few more of these, and then I'll do a couple of turquoise pieces. And I'm not going to make you sit through this whole thing because it's utterly boring. But it's wonderful. Like something like this was wonderful to take to hospital visits when you have to sit there for hours. You can put a lot of stuff on a small little tray and work off of that, which is it's kind of neat. It helps you pass the time. I've done this kind of stuff on an airplane when you're sitting there for 3 or 4 hours or more. Um, and I do this a lot in the evenings when I want to keep my hands busy and I can pay attention, like listen to the TV while my husband's watching TV. I'm keeping him company, and but I'm still doing something productive. I'm one of those people that just doesn't sit still very well. So if my hands aren't busy working on something, they're working on something to shove it in my mouth. So this is probably the better solution. All right. So I'll put this on here. Yeah, it's a good thing to do at night, Marianne. That's generally when I do this. Um, yeah, and I try to keep my supplies all kind of like in the same area so that it's not such a big deal to grab a bunch of things. I like to buy these uh, cafeteria trays. I don't know if you have like a Gordon Food Supply, GFS Supply where you live. They're probably something comparable if you don't, uh, where you can buy these little trays and then these little bead mats fit perfectly inside the trays. And I can keep all this stuff together even while I'm not working on it. Keep it all together and then, pull the tray out and sit it on my lap and go to town. All right, let's see here. All right, put this on here. Well, you get the gist of it, hopefully. Um, I will go ahead and finish putting this piece on, and then I'll do a couple of pieces of turquoise, and then make the top portion. Okay. Next, for the next demo in 2 weeks, I'm going to do the bracelet kits on that day. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the date is, but it's 2 weeks from today, and we'll put the kits together. Everybody should have gotten their kits by now. If you have not gotten it and you paid for a kit, let me know. But as far as my tracking information and all that stuff, it appears that they've all been delivered. So I don't want to delay that too much longer, um, and so that way we can put them all together. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could already put it together. It's not that difficult, but I do have some written instructions and some things that will make your life a little bit easier when you're putting it together. Um, so we'll do that together in a couple of weeks. Good. Yeah, a cookie sheet works great too. That's a good idea, Marianne. That would work fine. All right, now so the um the turquoise ones are the same deal. They are just a matter of wire wrapping that. I put a 2 millimeter bead on each side of the turquoise chip just because I like the look of it, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But really, if you're using the 2 millimeter beads, take care because I do know they smash very easily. I have been, I've had that experience many times. So wrapping the turquoise ones would be just the same. except with the 2 millimeter beads. And I guess I didn't pour enough of these out. I don't like to pour too many because there have been instances where I've knocked the tray over, and then you're picking up a gazillion little tiny things that have a tendency to run away from you. All right, so it's the same thing. Just put the 2 millimeter bead on each side of the turquoise and wrap the same way. Now for the top of the of this portion of the earring, what I did was I still used a 2-inch head pin. You could use wire if you wanted to. That would be fine if you had that and not the longer pins. But if you're going to do this, if you're going to use a pin, you need to cut off the little head of it and then make a loop with your round nose pliers. So you make a loop all the way around and then bend your wire back just a little bit so your loop kind of stands up kind of like a lollipop rather than just like the letter P. You want to have it look kind of like that. And let's see, which chain did I use for this? I used this chain. This is a little bit longer link. Doesn't really matter, but I just want to make sure that I use the same chain. So I'm just hooking that on there, and then I'm going to close this loop. Make sure that you get it closed all the way so that loop doesn't slip, and your chain slip out, I mean. And then I'm going to take a piece of turquoise and my disc, and then another piece of turquoise, just like that. And then, I'll assemble all of this stuff later on to put all those things on there. And then right at the base of my turquoise, I'm just going to bend that wire over, lift my pliers like that, turn the pliers back again, and continue to put that wire underneath the pliers. So just keep in mind what you're trying to do is just make a loop, and this is a great way to do it. All right, so now I'm going to hold and move this over to my non-dominant hand, and then grab the end of the wire and wrap. Oh, I knocked off my chain. That's all right. I'll put it back on. Wrap about 3 times, or until you hit the bead. You don't really want any space showing between your wrap and the bead. So I'm going to cut that off. In this case, it was just about 4 wraps. And then push that little wire that's sticking up, push that down. So there you have your little attachment that you can fit into your ear wire when you're done. So, okay. So I think that's about all I'm going to show you on this today, because it's pretty repetitious. It's all repetitious. It's all wrapping one crystal or one bead or whatever around that chain and just spacing your chain, so that everything hangs nicely uh, when you let the earring fall. That's the key, is that it all hangs pretty nicely and evenly. You can do this however you want. Just because I did it this way doesn't mean you have to do yours that way, naturally. Uh, it's just, there's just choices. You can do all kinds of different things with different stones, different sizes. Um, you can mix it up. You can make them longer. You can make them shorter. Just whatever appeals to you. Um, it's just my way to make dangles, but you know, it's kind of like I make what I like, and you make what you like. But at least that gives you a little sense of order, maybe. I don't know if I call it that, because nothing in my life is really orderly. But I will post the handout. It's got several pages, and I think a pretty thorough explanation of how to put these things together. It's actually a better representation than of my live demo today, because my head is not in the right place. Um, so bear with me, guys. I will get through all of this. It's just a little frustrating right now. Frustrating time in my life. So, like I said, in 2 weeks, we'll do uh, bracelet kit, the memory wire bracelet kit. That'll be great fun. Um, and thank you, Deb. I appreciate it. You guys are a great comfort to me and a great outlet. Um, when stressful times hit, it's nice to be able to chat with different people online, and I feel your support. I really do. All right, so that is going to be it for me today, and I'll put whatever information in the group page in just a couple of minutes. And then if you make some of this stuff, post it, because I'd like to see what comes out of it. Lots of choices. And I should have probably worn a pair of these danglies today, but I didn't. I'm just like in really low, I don't know, low mode, whatever. But I just love these little things. I think they're fun, they're festive. Uh, you can dress them up, play them down, whatever you like. So, all right, if you guys didn't catch the whole thing, you can always replay it, and I'll see you in the group. Post some of your stuff. I want to see it. Take care. Bye bye.